is deep yet full of jest. Come on in, you found the best. Between two giants here you'll find wit and wisdom intertwined. Laughs and knowledge hand in hand. This is the show that's in command.
Hey,
man.
we're doing it
Away we go.
one more time.
I mean, we're getting close to 50 episodes.
I gotta believe that the FCC is gonna get after us,
Yeah, dude. Seriously, there's got to be somebody on the roof right now. They're not busy.
like a sniper,
No, just like an FCC person. Like
an
with
FCC sniper,
Oh yeah, dude, I forgot.
Right.
So, yeah.
or jamming the signal.
Yeah. But do you have a mom story? If not, I have a follow up to your mom.
I don't have a
question.
mom story, although I don't have a story, but I was speaking to her a couple days ago,
Yeah.
and I've decided I just need to record every single conversation.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. So when you're talking about your mom mail and stuff, and you asked me how many, if I've sent 20 pieces of mail in my life, and I know the answer.
Right.
I remember I mentioned buying from Forever Stamps, and my wife cleaned out our junk drawer this weekend, and she found 2 books of 10.
Oh,
Guess how many were missing? Off each
0.
of them? No, because I remember we bought one. We needed to mail something, and there was 7 on one of them, and then I remember we couldn't find it, so we bought another one, and the other one was missing 7. So total, we had 10. So we mailed 10 things since. Guess what year those were from?
2020.
2016.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I don't think I've mailed anything past 2018 probably.
Yeah.
It was something like, I was mailing my grandma some pictures, and we found an app where you just, they mail it right to her kind of thing.
Right, because it's not 2016 anymore.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, oh, that's fun. And they're still good. They're forever stamps. So
That's
if you
true.
go to visit your mom, you're taking them to her. This is my gift
Because you're not
to
going to
her.
use them.
What the hell? I didn't even know I had them. I figured they were gone forever. Forever stamps. But anyways,
I think she thinks she gets a punch card or something if she uses as many stamps as possible.
yeah, I mean, she could be like on the top spender thing. you know? Yeah.
Oh, like 5 more. I get number 1.
I know. I was younger. We had a Costco opened up in our hometown, and my parents ran a business and has a bunch of stuff. So, like, the first year they're open, she got a card for being in the top 150 spenders at Costco.
That's awesome.
Pretty great.
Right.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
So I think your mom's got to be up there.
No, she's got to be number 1.
Yeah. For a non-business owning shipper.
Right.
Yeah.
Residential mailings.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right. I'm going to let you introduce the guest because, you got the area code hat on, and it's important to know that you're in
To
charge
know where
of
you're
that.
from.
You're at the head of the table.
That's true. We just changed things up today.
Yeah. Mix it up.
Right. So we are here with Donna Reiner. I've known Donna for a long time, actually. Probably started with my time in the CNA, and then here we are.
Yeah.
And now I fix her swamp cooler every summer. Yeah.
Her what? Her swamp cooler?
Her swamp cooler.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And she was actually mentioned on a previous episode.
She was?
Sam.
Who?
Samuel, when he lived in the halfway house.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we'll have to get into that. You've been mentioned on our podcast. Yeah.
You're infamous.
Yeah, you were infamous.
I'm infamous. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a funny thing with an even funnier, nicer ending to it. So.
Right. It wasn't, bad.
No,
Right.
it was funny. It was really. We'll tell. We can recap you.
Yeah, you can't because I don't remember.
Okay, I'll recap real quick. My buddy Sam, he's on the episode. He moved into a house in the neighborhood years ago. It used to be a halfway house.
Yes.
So him and a bunch of people, and you walked over and you're like, hey, by the way, because they're out there, smoking weed and doing stuff like that. You're
Criminals.
You're like, hey, guess, don't do that, basically. And they're like, oh, no, it's not a halfway house anymore. Do you remember that?
Well, the halfway house used to be at 917 East Sheridan. That's the one I know.
Okay. It had to be that one, but it was near you or
Yes.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah. And then we're like, oh, no, we're not a halfway house ananymore. And then he's like, and then she brought us a pie. This is like a good 15 years ago, probably. So
Could be.
yeah, could be. Classic forgot the pie you made. You
Right.
made so many pies.
I mean, if you're going to bring something to stoners, it's going to be pie.
Yeah. You're like, oh, okay. You guys aren't a halfway house. You're just stoners. Let me get you some blueberry pie.
So, Donna, how long have you lived in Coronado?
22 years and 11 months.
How many days?
July 11th,
Oh, wow.
2002.
Okay.
2002. Wow.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's probably the longest tenure we've had.
I think so. Yeah, that's in the same house, or have you moved
In the same house.
Same house. It's definitely longest same house, and definitely You're now the new record holder for longest here. Yeah. You win nothing.
Such an honor.
Yeah, except for the lowest mortgage payment in the neighborhood.
Here's a piece of trivia for you. I think Donna knows this.
Which one?
Donna's home is the first home that we planted a little free library in the entire neighborhood.
Gangster.
It's just the next corner.
Right.
Nice. I like that.
So I, going to be old. So in 2016, there was this wine that says, Coronado Historic District.
Yeah.
And the tagline says, well, first off, it was Petite Syrah. It represents the festive sense of community that is found in Coronado Historic District.
Nice.
It's for me.
Nice.
But I added, if I have to age, I want to do it in Coronado.
That's what I'm talking about. We actually have an empty bottle of that wine in our house as like a display piece and a cool wine holder.
Extra.
Yeah.
Extra
That's
labels.
cool.
You could take Mad Dog 2020 from Sunshine and put the Coronado label on it. No one's going to know.
Seriously, in a 40
I
OE or
will.
something?
Yeah, that's actually on brand.
We should make a Coronado malt liquor. That's what
You're onto something.
That's
Yes.
what we're lacking. We
I
gotta
don't
stop
hate
doing
it.
this stupid podcast.
Right. Is Billy D. Williams still
I
alive?
don't know. We could just do like the little puzzles like on Mickey's, but on the tiny cap that comes on a 40 of OE.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to solve.
Right.
That's awesome.
All right.
We're full of good ideas.
Well,
So you've been here for forever, the first person to ever move in the neighborhood, which is awesome. Just kidding. But how, like back then, like how did you discover Coronado? Like how did you end up in Coronado?
Well, I had a divorce. It was wonderful to have the divorce. So don't get me wrong about that. And I was living in a condominium up off of 7th Street north of Camelback.
Okay.
But I was commuting downtown and I worked at the Phoenix Museum of History, which was in Heritage Square. And I decided, I got onto the Historic Preservation Commission for the city of Phoenix.
Nice.
And I thought, I really should live in an older house. And so I started looking, and this house spoke to me.
What'd it say?
Buy me.
get out.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Just
yes.
close the door behind you and
I
locked it.
closed,
You're like,
yeah. And I think one of the funniest things about this particular house, I mean, the county says it was built in 1925, but being a historian,
yeah.
Lies.
it lies. Yeah. Anyway, it was built in 1923, and that's based on the death certificate of the wife of the owner who died in January of 24.
Which wall did you find that behind?
The body?
No, the death certificate.
You know, we're one of the most digitized counties
Really?
in the nation. The county was formed in 1871, and you can find documents back to 1871.
Really?
That's curious. Who's in charge of that?
Yeah, where
crap?
do you
Ooh,
find
seems like
that?
a tip.
It comes off the county recorders.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that guy, even though some things are wrong, but
Yeah.
but
Put him on task.
yeah, I play in a band.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Lead vocal, drummer, where you at?
I'm a flutist.
Nice.
Is it flutist or flautist?
Flutist.
I
Flutist.
would have asked the flutist.
It's a flutist.
I don't know.
And we play in a band. It's a community band. It's called the Phoenix Pioneer Band, which was originally founded in about 1880 and then kind of died in 28, and we've resurrected it. Well, it turns out that one of the players in that band owned the house. He was 2 people before I bought it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Really?
And he just gave me a picture. He says, here's the picture of the front of it when we sold it in 2000.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I bought it in 2002.
Yeah.
I'm going, well, how about some earlier things when your wife bought it?
I
want some
Google
more
Street
stuff.
View as well.
Anyway, that was kind of that odd, that 6 degrees of separation, which
crazy.
is really only 2.
You could have chosen any historic district. Why Coronado back then?
It was a small house in 1,262 square feet.
It's huge in this neighborhood.
Well, it is, but it's also on a lot and a half.
Yeah.
Because Walter Tollison of Tollison
Oh, nice.
owned that property and then the property next door. And he actually owned 3 lots, and then he split them. So each of us have a lot and a half.
Nice.
And he was the realtor for this subdivision.
Nice. So he sold all the homes in your entire
Yeah. I mean, I had some interesting little gimmicks like a $5 gold coin or something like that if you bought today. And he actually there was one ad that actually had a picture of that house.
That's cool.
So
That's pretty neat. The master plan community of 24 homes.
and I have to say, it was also, I preferred taking public transit. It's one block off of 7th Street. I can catch the bus.
Yeah.
Wasn't as good then as it is now, but it certainly made a difference because this number 7 took me right to where I worked.
Oh, nice. Did it smell better back then, or does it smell better now taking public transit?
On the bus?
Yeah.
On the bus? Oh, it smells fine.
All right. Cool.
Actually, the light rails where you get
The smells.
the smells because there's nobody watching.
Yeah.
Or
that's true.
very few people
Yeah, and the
watching.
person's way in the front doesn't have a view of the big
Yeah,
mirror.
I mean, you don't have the bus driver where you can say, this guy's
Yeah.
drinking this bottle of, of whatever
Gotta go
that you
forward
told
for
him
him.
not to do, and he
Yeah.
kicks him off.
Coronado
You don't-
malt liquor.
Stay in the caboose.
Yeah.
That's all the
yeah,
action
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get that in the light rail.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would imagine having that much history in the neighborhood, you can comment on how the neighborhood's changed over the years. Can you give us a sense of like the most dramatic things that have changed in the neighborhood to bring us to date?
Other than this podcast.
The most dramatic changes are. Can I lay it on the line?
Sure.
You're serious. This is the
The modern crap.
Modern
that is
crap.
that's being built.
Oh.
That is
Oh, yeah.
totally, in my opinion, in the opinion of others, inappropriate in design
Yeah, the
for
rectangle
the neighborhood.
that eats the lot, and
I think one of the nicest things going back and looking at the history is because it really was seen as very sketchy. I mean, very sketchy.
Yeah.
And if the city could have had their way, they would have bulldozed the whole thing. And that was typical of many of the other historic neighborhoods. The closer you get to the freeway, things would really start to drop off. And in the 20 some years I've been here, it really has improved. I grew up in a small town. I like the neighborhood. I like to be able to know who lives next door. If I'm going to be gone, I can tell this neighbor or that neighbor, can you watch it? And I've gotten to know the postal carriers.
yeah.
And just like you used to be able to. And they go, oh, yeah, you live at,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I like that. The only thing that I think is really missing, at least in this particular area where we're closer to 7th Street, is children. We don't have that many children playing out in the streets.
Swing by Cypress, man. It's just littered with them, man.
We can bus them in.
Yeah.
We can bus children.
Buzz them in.
You're like, go play in her front yard.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's no front yard for you to play in.
Oh, no. Get free candy, they'll just stop by.
No. I have, it's wooded.
All desert scape or just like full tree.
It's full trees.
Oh, I know where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some logs from you years ago off your front yard.
You might have.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
Fell in a garden
Thing to
bed.
give away.
Well, I was filling a garden bed and I needed, some.
Huh.
Anyways, your house
Yes.
is smothered in trees. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, there aren't a lot of children. I guess that maybe that's a result of 7th Street.
Yeah.
Closer you get, parents might be like,
Don't go play in the street.
It may very well. I mean, there's at least one child that lives on my block. There's one child on the block south that I know of, but you don't see them out in front. I think they may be glued to that new babysitter called a cell phone or something.
Sure.
Yeah. Seriously, it's raising me. That's for sure. It's made me a worse person.
Yes.
Like, why am I picking you up like you owe me money?
But the history of this neighborhood, I mean, it's very interesting because it's Coronado Historic District encompasses a lot of small subdivisions. So the first subdivision that was ever built by one builder in Phoenix happened here and was like 56 homes. I mean, nothing, huge.
Yeah.
But that was quite a change.
Yeah. Do you know what area that was in the neighborhood? Mm-hmm. Where at?
It's just off of, I think it's closer to between 10th and 12th.
You know what the tract is called?
Pardon?
You know what the division's called?
Well, it was Womack Heights, I believe.
Okay.
One of the Womack brothers had built it.
Nice.
The thing that people may not understand is when we talk about a historic district, some people think of it as just like a square, but this is more like a Tetris.
Yeah, that's seriously. All of Arizona and Peoria, all of it's like a weird Tetris.
So, and Donna can certainly correct me on this, but as I understand it, the Coronado Historic District is, as you say, made up of other subdivisions, but it's very like hodgepodgey. Like, in other words, I lived on Monte Vista on 13th-ish for a while. I was on the historic side. Right across the street was not historic. So it's not easy to figure out.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting.
Well, there's always been a desire to increase the official boundaries of the historic district, but it takes time, money, and energy.
Yeah, I'm just leaving the CNA right now, but we have a big old, we cleaned through a bunch of old paperwork. We have this file folder of all the houses as they try to certify it as historic. So you find your house.
And don't throw those out.
No, we have all of them. I snagged mine from my house, but it's like, what type of house it is. It kind of gives just a mini breakdown, not a ton of information, but it was like, well, that's kind of cool. We have that, but no, we kept everything of importance, and
they're not all correct.
Yeah.
I mean, because we are so digitized now, and we're able to really search things, and we can search the newspapers digitally. It makes it a lot easier to do things, although even stuff in the newspaper is not necessarily correct.
Yeah.
What would be the advantage of expanding the boundaries?
I think the advantage would be to those people who own and live in the houses, in that, because it gives you the option, at least right at the moment, of applying for tax relief. We really don't know what's going to happen because the SHPO office is facing lack of funds, may have to close in August, and they're the ones who certify that your house is indeed a contributor, and therefore you qualify for this tax relief. And it's close to 50%.
Wow.
So what if you're let's say someone just bought a home and maybe they didn't know it was in the historic district, what types of things could that person qualify for?
Well, besides the tax relief, they could, when the city historic preservation office has their grant program, which would be exterior rehab. I mean, there have been many homes here in Coronado that have been recipients of that over the years. So it might be, repairing the windows. Maybe your house is sinking, it's jacking it, jacking it up, paying for that. So and that program now, it used to be only $10,000. I think now they'll go up to $20,000, and I don't know that you have to match all of it.
Nice.
Does the homeowner give anything up if they get that?
They put a conservation easement on the house, which has to be, if you have a loan, it has to be approved by the bank.
Okay.
But the length of the conservation easement depends on the amount of money that the city gave you.
Interesting.
And I can just say there was an example of a house on my street that somebody decided they were going to upgrade it. It had beautiful blonde brick, and they decided to stucco it. It had a conservation easement on it, and the city wasn't able to get all of it back, but they did get a portion of that back because they had done something they shouldn't have done. And that was stuccoing a house. If it's not originally stucco, needs a permit.
Yeah, and they didn't get one.
They didn't get one.
Coronado, the home of no permits.
Well, that's true. There are lots of places here which makes it difficult.
So if we have a lot of new homeowners that are coming in the neighborhood, and driving here, I just saw all these for sale signs. So I'm going to assume that we're going to have more and more and more, because honestly, where else would you live? This is so cool.
Seriously.
So if you're moving in and the realtor doesn't disclose to you, and they should, that it's a historic home, what's your advice for a new homeowner to make sure that they are compliant with whatever they need to comply with?
My suggestion always is to call the Historic Preservation Office, the City Historic Preservation Office, and ask, is my house on the register? I mean, I have a list that I could go through and say, yes, it's a contributor, but I don't know that list is always as up to date as should be. Occasionally there are people that have filed to have their house put on there because there was a mistake when it was originally evaluated.
Okay. So it's like current unless, you got missed or there's an error.
What would cause a house to be decertified, or is that a thing?
Yes. That is a thing.
Okay.
Jokingly, we used to say 3 strikes and you're out. It could be that you stuccoed it.
Yeah. That's
you could
three
have.
strikes right there.
Yeah, it's 3 strikes. It used to be changing the windows, but as long as you keep the windows the same size they are currently, you can do anything with the windows. So if it was a crank window or a double hung, you could put in the same size.
That's
you
nice.
make it smaller, you make it larger. That's, kind of.
Yeah.
But the appearance of it can change.
You can get like an updated window, not
You
a
could use an
single
updated
pane.
window instead of a single pane.
That's good.
That's
nice.
interesting.
I mean, it's tough to kind of change that here because it's like most of the houses are brick. So it's not an easy, just.
Well, one of the things that people don't realize, you lose most of your heat through the roof,
Oh yeah.
and it's not your windows. My windows, I would say at least half of them somebody changed, some in the back, are original casement windows, which means they're over 100 years old.
That's awesome.
And I have a swamp cooler.
Wow. That's
It's
gangster.
true. I can attest.
That's gangster.
And
We also have like a forest.
and I have a forest. I have forest on the west side.
Makes
I mean, there are ways to protect yourself and to keep it cooler.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good. We should put some shade up on our northeast side or northwest side of our house. They usually get just pelted in the summer.
Right.
We put a shade covering. It's just like every time I walk in that room, I'm like, oh my God, this is like a new place. Couldn't really put trees there. It didn't work out, but like it makes a difference. Your
It
trees
does
keeps
make
the
a
ground
difference.
cooler and all that stuff. But
And of course, I don't have any grass. I have wood chips in the back, and then I have all these trees
all you
with
need.
mulch.
Yeah. You put that wood chips down a good foot of it, man, you never even have to water your trees. They do forever, last forever.
Yeah.
But question for you. So somebody's listening to say, hey, like I kind of want to dig into, I just don't know where to look. Like I want to look up the history of my home and find out all the neat stuff. Where would you direct somebody, or what's your phone number so I can just call you?
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to teach a class of how to do it yourself. If I do it,
Yeah.
it'll cost you.
Oh boy. I mean, I should make that money.
I mean, come on. It is a lot of, I'm not getting a lot of money for the number of hours that I do it. But if they don't have to be a contributing property to have some history, because they might be a non-contributor because they did something. They didn't personally, but a previous owner did something so now it's no longer contributing. But it does have some history. And history can be really fun. I wanted to get, you said you were on the directors at the CNA?
I just ended my 3-year
you just
tenure.
ended.
Yeah. But I still run the tool shed and I have all the files in there. So
Because I thought about doing something called the famous and the infamous people that have lived in the neighborhood.
we should have named it that. That's a stupid name we came up for our podcast.
Right? We're so dumb.
And if you need some trivia questions, I can help you in that.
Coronado trivia.
I just love the history.
Yeah.
And when people say history is boring, I'm going, no, it was your teacher that was boring.
Yeah.
I used to be a museum educator, and you'd figure out what you could tell depending on the age of it. So when they were young kids, I said, well, what do you think this is? And they'd kind of look, and I'm going, I said, it's a giant toenail clipper for horses. They could kind of relate to that. And then there would be something else. What do you think that is? Oh, that's a grater. I said, no, that's a toaster. The camp stove.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Old school, non-plug-in.
The non-plug-in.
Yeah.
But you start going through that, and I go down a lot of rabbit holes when I'm.
Does the city have a website, or is there somewhere it's all go to the library, or is it just
The best place to go to start, if you're going to go to the library, would be the Arizona Room in Burton Bar Library.
Where's Burton Bar? I don't know my libraries by
What?
name.
It's
Oh,
the
that's
big,
a
pretty
central
one.
library.
I don't know my library names.
Okay.
Get yourself a card.
I call them
Yes,
all
you gotta get
library.
down.
After this is over, you're getting a card.
Yeah, it's on Willetta and Central Willetta and First Avenue.
Yeah,
It's the big pretty one with
I know of it, but sorry.
It's the fifth. It's the 5-story
Yeah,
one.
name 3 libraries.
It's okay. You can't read. It's fine.
Yeah, but you need to check their hours. Most of it is by appointment
Oh, really?
only.
To get in the
Unfortunate
Arizona
because cutting down the staff.
Okay.
But there's a lot that you can do on the county records. So if you had paid for I can't even think what it is right now. when you bought your house, if they gave you a list of everybody who had owned it, you can start there because now you know who the names of the owners are. So then you can go on to the county recorders and look under documents, recorded documents. It's a fun way to spend every evening, and you're not playing a game.
Yeah, summer's here, so
summer's
air
here.
conditioned, I imagine. But,
It's kind of a game.
yeah,
It's a kind of game,
Like
but
a detective game.
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, I got started in writing histories of houses and other buildings after I took a graduate class, and I had to do that for my house.
Yeah.
And I only wrote a 40-page paper.
That's it?
I don't do that for other people.
Yeah, no, that's a lot. A funny story. I think we're the third owner of our home currently, and it was an old mail carrier that we used to deliver our mail after we'd bought it. They'd sold it, and then some flipper destroyed it, and we've been working on fixing it. And our mail carrier used to deliver our mail. They used to live in our house. Kind of crazy. So
That's not the one on 8th Street, is it?
no, I'm on Cypress,
Okay.
like 14th and little cul-de-sac corner there.
Yeah, because our mail carrier used to live in the house on my
that's
block.
funny.
So I could always find out what was going on.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
That's interesting. That it feels like that you had mentioned kind of in passing that you would be interested in doing it, or possibly interested in doing it for someone who would hire you for
Right.
essentially to make a history of their house. I think I would imagine, myself included, there are a lot of people that just either don't have the bandwidth, interest, or ability
yeah,
to
where
do
to
all that
start,
stuff.
You know, that's the whole thing.
And to
Where
me,
do you
that's
start?
like an investment, because in my mind, then you have a portfolio of your house that you could take with you or give it to the next person or whatever. I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
really cool.
I will give the big one, and then I have a little reduced one
Nice.
for my house. I will whoever. I'm going out on a body bag, but
Oh, that's dark.
I'm not moving. I don't have. I mean, where
Okay.
would I go?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
for real, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's true. Where do you go?
Yeah,
we
where do you
discussed that a
go?
lot
I
on this
mean,
neighborhood.
next door used to be a furrier. They at least had cold storage in those days.
Quick question: what is a furrier?
Oh, really?
Sorry,
You got to go to the library.
Yeah, you
I
got to
gotta
go to
learn
the
to
library.
read first.
A furrier, FURRIER. It's someplace where you could store your fur coats
Oh, well, that's why I don't know.
repair them. And it was quite fashionable back in the
Yeah.
day.
Everybody in Phoenix had a fur coat.
Okay, and they just didn't have room at home, or they just worried it would like get destroyed, or
Well, moths
Okay,
would just
okay.
and
I do want to point out that you very heavily judge me, Michael, for not knowing what a furrier is.
Correct.
Because-
That's right. I keep my furs in cold storage. Come on.
Yeah, the weird part is I'm wearing a fur coat right now. That's the scariest part about this
Body hair doesn't count.
Oh, dang it. I got to get a fur coat and get a furrier.
Yeah.
yes.
You also wrote a book.
Yes, I did co-authored a book on this neighborhood. It's
Nice.
called Greater Phoenix's Greater Coronado neighborhood.
Nice.
And it has an old picture from the interior of McAlpine's on it.
Nice.
McAlpine's once sponsored a soapbox derby car.
Wow, that's fun.
And so and I'm not sure whether that gentleman is still alive, but he, posed with the book with his picture and
How
everything.
fast was the soapbox car? I mean, it's not
Turbines.
How we,
Yeah.
Well, I've often wondered because, usually you think of the soapbox derby going down a hill.
Where would you do it?
I don't
in-
know where they
My
did it.
first thought
There's
is
no
like
hill.
That one
Well-
hill in McDowell.
Well, in some of the hills, the roads that now are hills didn't necessarily go through when he was a young man.
Yeah. That's anyway.
Curious.
Yeah.
And people can find that book where? Everywhere, right?
It's an Arcadia Press. You should be able to find it like at Walgreens or Costco or
Yeah.
Okay.
things
I've
like
seen
that.
I
But
did see
there-
it at Walgreens.
Yeah.
But there are lots of that.
Nice.
There are lots of books, different
But
titles.
buy yours, get you that book money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? It was a whole $1 royalty off
Whoa.
every book sold.
Wow.
And I donated the money to
This podcast?
to the CNA.
Oh, nice. Appreciate that. Shout
So
out.
I don't know if you're still getting money or not,
I
but
don't know.
that's what I
I
that's
wasn't
what I
the
did.
treasurer.
Back in the day, I did get a check once in a while.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, even I did 2 other books, and occasionally
Right.
I get the statements of going, "Oh, you haven't earned enough money yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
Yeah. You got to hit $25.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So would you be comfortable if people wanted to reach out and they were interested in having someone like a concierge, like do the history? Would you be comfortable with people contacting you for that information?
Sure.
Okay. So we can put your email address. Is that a fair?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the podcast description in case people want to
Or
reach
just
out and
respond every day when you post on the Coronado message board, good morning, with a cool picture.
No, that's not me.
That's not her.
I thought,
That's a different Donna.
No,
Sorry.
Donna Pointer. Yeah, whatever. Different last name.
All right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's kind of funny because I was in my mind, you were a different Donna. She's on 12th, right? That's what I'm thinking of.
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, you can delete that part. That was useless.
I edit most of what you say out.
That's perfect. Yeah. It's basically, where's the other giant? Most episodes.
Between a giant.
Yeah. You got any rapid fires on the?
No, I don't think so. I think this was super informative. I remember coming into this neighborhood, coming from Glendale, where there's not really any history.
Yeah.
Talk about stucco. Oof.
Yeah.
Coming here, it reminded me of home because I grew up in New England, so all the houses are a little bit different. But I was both interested and overwhelmed by the fact that you have a house from 1925. There's a lot of weird stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
So to have someone like you that can kind of explain that, or at least provide a history of it, I think it'd be helpful for certainly a new homeowner that has never owned a historic home before.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's a
And
lot.
the first house I ever remember living in as a child, my great grandfather had built in
that's cool.
1911. And then the next house, his son, my great uncle, built.
That's
And that was
crazy.
built in 58.
That's funny.
It's amazing. Yeah. There's the
Yeah.
history of this neighborhood. It's pretty, like, just the breadth of time that's gone
Yeah,
through.
and like how they'd be built and there'd just be nothing right next to it. You know, it would just be thousands of homes
Well,
built right away.
just my block, my one block,
Yeah.
took the subdivision opened in, I think, 21. And it was probably not until the mid 30s that
it's
it was
done.
totally built out.
Jeez, for 56 homes, you said?
No. This is just on my block.
Oh, your street.
Just my street.
It
Yes.
takes time.
Yeah, there are 50. No, there are.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, yeah, so I mean, because it was hit and miss, it was not developer driven.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what most people are familiar with in the Valley, Glendale. It's,
Lamedale.
it's developer driven. And this was not. It's just that one little, well, Country Club Park was somewhat developer driven.
Yeah,
It had its starts and stops.
yeah.
Snobs.
That's crazy. Snobs and snobs.
Country Club Park. Oof.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So if you have one piece of advice for a new homeowner or existing that owns a historic home, or whether it's designated or not, what would you say?
I would say before you do anything on the exterior that faces the street, check with the Historic Preservation Office at the city just to make sure, because you will have and walls, fences. They require a permit.
Yeah, they can just throw up a cinder block fence.
But there are lots of things that require permits that somebody, if they're, getting a bid, they'll say, oh, no, that doesn't, check.
Yeah.
Yeah, the street facing thing is something I didn't even consider.
Absolutely.
And then
smart.
we luckily our when we had our home remodeled, the builder was good and checked with the historic and like, well, you can do these things, but not those things.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's good to know. And no stucco. Don't be a jerk.
Well, I mean, it's, yeah,
yeah, don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
don't be a jerk.
Yeah. Don't ruin it.
There are people who watch.
That's true.
Yeah.
They do.
Seriously.
Donna, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, this is great. Very
Well, you're
informative.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The least amount of cuss words, which was 0 on any
We did
episode.
it.
We
No,
did
no,
it.
no. He
He
said,
did.
I said one, but I'm
just kidding.
we're NC-17.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. No, we're like G with one F word.
Right.
I'm glad you kept track because I don't even listen to them. And so it's good to have somebody.
It's really for the
It
best.
was with my good ear.
Yeah. All right. Thanks,
Awesome.
Donna.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Step right up to the wildest show where two big minds are ready to blow. Conversations deep yet full of jest. Come on in, you found the best. Between two giants here you'll find wit and wisdom intertwined. Laughs and knowledge hand in hand. This is the show that's in command. Tall and talking, big in brains, making sense of life's wild lanes. Deep dive chats and fun remain. Bet you won't hear this on the plane. Between two giants here you'll find wit and wisdom intertwined. Laughs and knowledge hand in hand. This is the show that's in command. So giants here you'll find wit and wisdom intertwined. Laughs and